Hi and welcome back to MONDRAKER TV. I'm here in North Africa checking out our latest bike. To me, it's a bit like the return of an old friend. This is the MONDRAKER Dune and I can't wait to tell you all about it. This is the brand new MONDRAKER Dune. It's our latest e-MTB and it's running 165mm travel on the rear, up to 180 on the front, as you can see on this XR model. And for the first time outside of our downhill race bikes, we're offering this bike with a dedicated smaller 27.5-inch rear wheel setup with the bigger 29 on the front. It's also running the new lightweight Bosch Performance SX motor system, meaning this bike, as well as being in the lightweight category, is extremely agile, aggressive and responsive. Doesn't matter what you want to attack on this thing, it's ready. Now I know the Dune is a brand new bike. Some of you might be familiar with the name. It's quite important really because of the fact the Dune was the first bike that MONDRAKER released back in 2009 that featured the zero suspension platform that runs through every bike in our range. Now at the time, hydroformed aluminium tubing was very much in vogue. And of course, designers were putting curved frame designs on every part of the bike. And it was actually the curved top tube that inspired the name of the bike because it reminded our designers of areas like this that early freeriders used to seek out in search of different styles of riding. Now, although this bike looks very different to those curved shapes, it does share many of the same traits with the original Dune, except this offers much, much more. Let's have a close look at all the tech spec. Okay, frame first, and it's a full stealth air carbon design. Carbon rear end, carbon front end, carbon monoblock design here. Now, you probably noticed that the frame does share some similarities with our recently launched Neat, although the Neat, by name and definition, is a more slender profile. It's definitely got the elegant look to it. This has got the slightly more burly appeal with it. You've got more material on the front end. You have flatter profiles to the tubing. The chain stays and the seat stays are chunkier. The monoblock rocker on here, there's just more material on the bike, which really hints at who it's for and what the bike is capable of. Now in the front triangle, you have room for 2 bottle cages here, and you've got a bit of freedom of choice here. So you can run a conventional bottle cage on the down tube here, and on the underside of the top tube, you have the recessed flush fit system from Fidlock. So you can either run a conventional bottle cage on top of this or remove this blanking plate and fit in there a flush fit Fidlock system. Now, this enables you to run, as I said, 2 bottle cages or 1 bottle cage and 1 range extender, which we'll get to when we talk about that with a motor system. So there are 4 sizes available on this, ranging from small through to extra large. Now there's 3 spec models on the bike. 2 of them feature a 170 fork, and this XR model features a 180mm fork. As a result, the geometry differs slightly. Now the head angle is 64 degrees or 63.5 on this XR model. Seat angle, a super climb friendly 77.5 degrees or 77 on this XR. Chainstay length across all 3 is 445mm. Which makes it long enough to be stable and create the correct balance between the wheels, but obviously short enough to make the most of having a smaller rear wheel to make it really want to slap into the turns and retain that agile, aggressive feel that you associate with the mullet style setup. When it comes to the reach measurement, all important one on the frames, on the small it's 445mm, medium 465, large 485, extra large 505. And is 5mm shorter across all of those for this XR model. And of course, there's a brand new version of the zero suspension platform. So yes, the system still compresses the shock from both ends, just like it always has done across our bikes, but the configuration is slightly different, just like you've seen on the Neat, the F Podium, and of course the Summum prototype downhill bike that our race team are going to be using. Now there's several reasons for this. Firstly, it enables us to drop the top tube down, get it out of the way, but not sacrifice bottle cage space in the front triangle. Now, this of course is super important because it enables us to use a range extender and still use a bottle cage. To do that, we've had to drop the monoblock rocker right down out of the way if you compare it to previous designs. As a result, the shock mounting position has had to change. So the shock is no longer driven from the lower linkage, it's actually mounted to the rear end of the bike, but it's still compressed from both sides. So the suspension action is similar, but what it's enabled our designers to do with the configuration is retain the all-important support you need, but it's incredibly supple, much more than before. You can also have much bigger dropper posts per size. Okay, and down to the motor system. This is so exciting. We're using the Bosch Performance SX lightweight system on here. Now this motor really is quite an anomaly as far as lightweight systems go, because it sits somewhere between the ultralight system that we have on the Neat and the full power systems you see on our Crafties and Crushers. Now the Bosch Performance SX system uses 55 Newton meters of torque, but as with all Bosch systems, the way that it implements that torque is quite astonishing. It feels so much more powerful and engaging than the number will tell you. And housed in the down tube is a 400 watt-hour battery system here, which on its own is capable, if you use the system and you manage the modes correctly, to achieve 1500 meters plus of elevation climbing, which is seriously incredible if you think of just the size of the unit. And that's how efficient that 55 Newton meter motor can be. But should you want to get more out of the system, you have the ability to use the Power More range extender, which offers you 250 watt hours on top of that. That would mount in the bottle cage as a dedicated system from Bosch, and it plugs directly into the charge port down here. Fantastic system. The Bosch Performance SX system is part of the Smart system from Bosch, which means there's so many different advantages, whether that's from the Flow app, where you get over-the-air updates on your system and all of the customization available to you, through to the actual physical spec on the bike. There's different controllers available to you, but what we have chosen on this bike and across all of them is the system controller on the top tube here. This is where you turn your system on and off. You get a visual representation of the 4 modes you're in, whether that's the turbo setting, the e-MTB, the Tour Plus or Eco, and they're all color-coded according to that. You also get a visual representation of your battery life, which at a glance, without having to look at the kiosk display, you can see at any point where you are. And you can cycle through the modes just using that. Really great system. We've chosen to use the wireless mini remote. It's the smallest and most intuitive thing to use. It doesn't get in the way, it's naturally where your thumb is on the handlebar. Super easy to cycle through the systems. And then for displays, we have gone for the Kiosk 500. This is a fully featured display. It gives you everything, and again, it's customizable using that Flow app. But you also have the option, should you want, to customize the physical setup. You could remove, if you wanted to, the Kiosk display and run the system without this on the bars, and you have a nice clean setup. It of course does mean you lack all of the brilliant stuff that you have on there, but the fact is Bosch enable you to do this the way that you want to do it. The customization is fantastic. Now, whilst componentry does change between the 3 different models, we understand that there are some important factors to consider, especially with a bike as aggressive as this. As a result, we've got e-MTB specific wheels front and rear on all 3 models, and we have the same tyres across the board as well. Out back we have 2.4 Maxxis DHR2 using a double down casing. It's a Max Terra compound, so combined with the casing offers the best in terms of durability with rolling speed and battery life. Up front we're using the EXO Plus casing on an Assegai tyre with the Max Grip compound. Obviously you want all the traction benefits, but to maximise on what you can achieve on this bike. 200mm 4-piston brakes are across the board on all of them, and suspension units have been hand-picked to make sure they give the absolute best performance for each model. Up front, the R model features the Fox 38 with 170mm travel, whereas the RR model features an Öhlins RXF 38 with 170, and the XR, the same fork, set at 180mm of travel. Now the Dune is going to appeal to many different types of mountain biker, but just before I get there, you've got to take into account the capabilities of what the system offers. So yes, it's a 55 Newton meter motor on there, which you might think isn't that powerful, but it gives a lot more than you might expect. Combine that with the efficiency with the 400 watt-hour battery, you can climb further than 1500 meters, which I've already referenced, and really you can do 2 to 3 hour rides no problem on this system without the range extender. And that, I think, for many mountain bikers is going to ring home. Like, I know for a fact that most of the rides I do personally are under 3 hours, so this could well be the perfect system for you. Now, perhaps you're coming from a full powered e-bike, but you miss that agile ride that you get from a lighter bike, but you're not willing to give up the sort of performance associated with the motors. That's right there for you. And the other way around as well. Perhaps you're coming from a regular mountain bike and you don't want to commit to a full power bike because you like the way enduro and trail bikes feel, that light, agile, responsive ride. This offers all of those things. Okay, we're nearly there. We've checked out the frame, we've checked out the geometry, the suspension, that SX motor system on there. And I just want to underline the traits of the new Dune. So yes, it's in the lightweight class along with the Neat, and the Neat does resemble this, the frame design on there. But the Neat is such a different bike. The Neat is designed to be the most natural feeling lightweight e-bike in its class. This really is for the gravity biased riders out there. The sort of rider that wants to get to the top of the climb to really enjoy that descent. But more importantly, this is an entrance point as well into the world of e-bikes. Think of it as scratching that e-bike itch for someone that wants to get in on that all-power action, but doesn't want to lose or sacrifice the ride qualities associated with lighter bikes. This bike, if you're willing to put the work in, you can actually stay with the full power bikes. And then of course, if I'm being shallow about it, it's just the appearance of it. It's such a beautiful bike. And the paint job on the XR, every angle you look at this, it changes colours and it perfectly reflects the name of the bike, the surroundings we're in and where we've been riding the last week. I'm looking at it here in the sand dunes in Morocco, and it really is a sandy colour, but yesterday in the red rocks, it was red and purple, just such an incredible looking bike. And I'd love to know what you think of the latest Dune from Mondraker and which one would appeal to you. I think I'm probably down for an XR myself, but let us know in the comments underneath. Give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for free content every week here on Mondraker TV. Thanks for watching.